Hi, Yasmin.
Hi, Ines. How are you doing?
Really good. The reason I'm talking to Yasmin today is she's going to tell you some really cool things. So I
Yeah.
think I'm just going to let her go straight ahead and tell you what she wants to tell you.
Okay. So Ines, as you know, I trained with you for a while, couple of
Hmm.
years now. And initially I used to use the Simpson Protocol as you taught us, but now I've started using it for everything, literally everything. And I use it as a framework to set up any of the sessions that I do, which could be something different like spirit release, aura clearing, past life regression, any of
Well,
those.
that's not really different. You can do that, but you're doing
Yes.
it your way. That's the difference.
Yes, so exactly. But what is amazing is I found that it's fantastic to have this super conscious mind. It's like this benevolent, wise being that is right there on hand to help. And it's amazing how quickly things get done. So if I actually took, let's say, 20 minutes to address something in a different technique, it would be done in 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes even, right? You know that.
Yeah, yeah,
So it really helps. It makes everything better.
yeah.
So I've had a few really interesting experiences of late, which I mentioned to you when we spoke. So I'm happy to share these. So uh, a month ago, I was doing what is similar to an entity release for a client of mine using Simpson Protocol. And during the session, we were about halfway through. I just asked him to tell me what he was feeling and what he was seeing or sensing. And he said to me that he was seeing and feeling this beautiful, big, white, pulsing energy, ball of light, actually. So, just to be sure, I asked him, does it feel positive or negative? He said it feels positive. So, I asked the superconscious, do you want to do something for him with this energy? And I got a yes. So, I said, okay, go ahead, do it now and give him the knowing, let him know what you're doing. And my client reported back right away that he felt this light was filling him up from inside and spreading within him. And just as he was describing that to me, there was this floodlight on the screen, and it was so amazing to see because it's caught on video. His entire room, the entire frame was filled with light, and it's like this huge, big flashlight or floodlight went off and then on. Went on and then off.
And
And
just for people to know that I did see that. She hasn't got permission as yet to show it to you. So it's really incredible.
yeah, so of course, I was quite taken aback. And while I was continuing with the session, I was like, was that a coincidence? Did the sun shine in his room? All of those things going on in my head. And I completed the session and I spoke to him and I said, this is what happened. And the incredible thing is that he confirmed to me verbally then that at the same time that I had asked it to do this, as in do whatever it needed to for him, he said I was filled with light inside. It was like it was surrounding me, all over me, all around me. So he was amazed too at the timing of it, right? So that was one incredible experience, very, very validating for the client and, of course, for me too. 3 weeks ago, I was doing another session with a different client. And also, I think we were working on releasing grief and sadness in this case. And I had just asked the superconscious to address past vows, oaths, I think anything karmic, clear it for her. And I also added release any energy she doesn't need anymore. And at the same time, again, exactly the same thing happened. Her entire room was filled with light. And this time it lasted for almost 4 or 5 minutes. And this time I was not as caught, by surprise. So I asked telepathically, I just said, I want to know, superconscious, is that you? And she didn't hear the question. I got an immediate yes with the fingers. And she's even verbally replying to me and saying, yes, yes. So that was another amazing experience. Um, and again, she validated this later when I spoke with her. I told her what had happened, and she said that she had felt it and she was seeing it within her as well, or within her inner space. So
Wow.
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was amazing to me because, well, I hadn't seen it in the room when
Right.
I've done that, you know. That was really good.
Yes, yes, yeah. Clients tell us these things sometimes, but to actually see it caught on video is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. So that's been two really interesting things that have happened. Um, Another interesting thing that's happened of late is I find some of the clients, a couple of them actually, I find their hands have begun to levitate or float off the pillow in the middle of the session. And
Okay.
again, I think I need to get prepared, ask a few more questions or keep a few more questions ready for next time. But I did ask Superconscious, is that you? And it was a yes. And then I had a few other telepathic questions I think I asked. And I got the understanding that that's the way it wanted to say yes. So,
Wow.
so it was giving me the yes response in that way for some reason.
Okay. That's really interesting because it floated right off well from what you were saying, it was right off the
Yes.
screen.
Yeah. In one
Super
of their
conscious.
cases, yeah, it was all the way up, and I had to like say, please now, can you put that hand back down on the pillow? So,
Very good. So, you want to tell me about some interesting experiences you've had in
um,
your practice? You've been doing this for a couple of years. No, 2 years?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, 2 years now. Yeah, two
yeah.
years now. So just a lot of different, I think it's great for us to share what we've worked on, what things, what results we've got, different kinds of issues for people. And I've had clients with all kinds of problems. Not every client has fantastic results, but most of them really respond very quickly. In few sessions, so there was a young girl who came to me because she had anxiety and depression after she lost a very close friend, and she developed facial tics and body tremors. And I think the medical diagnosis was PTSD that is developed into neurosis. And she's a teenager, so her mom was very keen. I got the consent of the parents, and in the first session, her anxiety dropped considerably. The tremors became less. After 2 sessions, the body tremors were almost gone. The facial tics remained. And after 3 sessions, the tics were gone and the tremors were gone. And she was back to normal life, taking part in activities. And I think something like that is just fantastic, isn't it?
That's fantastic. You know, you think about it, they would taken a lot longer doing other things. I
Of
mean, three
course.
sessions for something like that is quite nice.
Right. And then I've had clients, I think, who are already inclined, perhaps you could say, spiritually, or who have some other practice, like maybe a meditative practice. So there's one of my clients who meditates regularly, and with him, initially I began following the script, and then I realized I started getting no answers for every question. So I was like, super conscious, can we now work on the issue? It was a no. And I said, okay, is there something else you want to do first? No. So I asked some other questions and everything was a no. And then I said, okay, do you want to do this yourself? And it was a yes, 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 yes. So I was like, okay. And from that point on, with this particular client, Superconscious just does it all. I'm
Yeah,
literally sitting there and saying, okay, do it, do what you need to, let me know
yeah.
when it's done.
I do that
And
too, but I tell you, I just about everybody, the second session, I'm asking that the first thing. And then if they say no, then I'll go on with something. But I
right.
always ask that first.
Mhm. So, so that's great. And I've also started asking for most of them if Superconscious wants to give them any feeling that it wants to give them, that we can program in. So that's been very helpful. So, for example, I think with the same client, we asked for a feeling that was appropriate for him, and
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to reduce stress. I think he wanted guidance for his business. So even for intangible results or intangible outcomes, rather, it's such an amazing process. So when we ask for a symbol or an image or a trigger in some, form, he got
Mm-hmm.
this visual of a benevolent white glowing hand on his head, kind of calming him down. And he uses that regularly in his self hypnosis. He brings his BP down every day, actually. And he says he checks it before it's at 140 something. And then after his self hypnosis is down to 110, 120. So,
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Oh,
yeah.
that's wonderful. You got
So,
any more little juicy ones?
yeah. Then, and so all kinds of issues. What I love is that, it's so flexible. So you want guidance, you want clarity, you want to reduce your stress, and then there's even phobias. I've had some really good results with a client who had what is called agoraphobia, the fear of going outside. I think it developed during COVID, and she couldn't leave her house even to go to the grocery store. And I think we worked for about 3 or 4 sessions, and she's absolutely fine. She goes everywhere. She drives now, gets into a car. She wouldn't do any of those things before. So
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, there's millions of,
so
I'm
many issues.
exaggerating, of
Yeah,
phobias, but phobia, you treat them all the same as any phobia. They're all the
right.
same. And in super conscious, we treat everything that way. And is we
True.
always leave it to super conscious. So it's pretty well like that. You can work with anything. And that's why I like
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just having great fun using Simpson Protocol. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I really like that we get this little video done because it'll
Mhm.
give other people the incentive to know they can use some prize type of thing and put it in their superconscious mind stuff.
Right. And also, what's interesting is that, so with most people, I'm using Simpson Protocol. Sometimes people come to me for something different, maybe a past life, and I've just used, other techniques, my older techniques to work with them. And then for a couple of clients, I was having some issues, or rather, they were having some issues, whatever. And we had not worked or set up the Simpson Protocol framework, but I still called in the superconscious mind, and it was like they had been using it all along.
I know. I think we're finding as we go along, you still can't do it, but they can definitely, even about the triggers, even about things like that, certain people, maybe it's only certain people, I don't know because I haven't discovered that yet. They they just do it. And it doesn't take them long to give people triggers. They don't, I always made it for people who understand, so their understanding was there. But
Right,
when superconscious does it, he doesn't need the understanding.
right. And it's also amazing when I ask, or when we ask the superconscious to install those triggers that are right for the client.
Yeah,
It's so much better than what we could think of or plan, right? So
yeah,
initially, I used to say, can you give him a trigger word for, say, the feeling of self-love? Now I've stopped saying that. I just say, give him the feeling you want him to have.
yeah,
And then I will ask the client, tell me what that feeling was. And it's always completely relevant for the client, way more
right,
than, anything I could have come up with, right?
yeah, yeah. Very good. So you're really starting to make it an SP yours. And it'll be interesting to see in the future what you come up with.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.